I'm I'm really disappointed. I'm really disappointed is what I'm gonna say. And I know that the comments are gonna be full of the words, I told you so, we told you so, what did you expect? But I'm still disappointed because I felt like we had done something good, you know? So before I respond to everything, every stupid thing that's been going on, I would like to say that kindness, in my experience and from my life, had a huge role to play in me changing everything about myself. All my views, all my understanding of the world, my perception of people. Kindness had such a huge role in changing and shaping me, even though I was a person who received very little of it growing up, if I'm honest. You know, I didn't really receive it in my school life. I didn't really receive it in my home life. It was something that was alien to me. And once I discovered it and it was shown to me, and, you know, people didn't take what I said and, you know, make me out to be a huge bigot, basically, and understood that I was ignorant of a lot of things. That kindness really brought out a person in me that I didn't know existed. And perhaps if I hadn't been shown kindness, I would still be that, you know, mess of a human being that I was before. I don't even know where I would be if I wasn't shown that kindness by people. But what am I talking about? What am I expecting, you know? And like I said, I know that the comments are going to be flooded with, we told you so. And I don't care about that. In my video where I was reflecting on Sunday at Speaker's Corner, I had said that I was sitting opposite one of Ali's friends, Dawah's friends, and I had told him, I don't know if I stated this specifically in that video, but I had told Ali's friend that I will be willing to give everyone a chance. Everyone. I think everyone deserves one chance, at least. And I typically give people 3 chances. Because, you know, sunnah. I'm sorry, I'm just like, I wrote out an entire Twitter thread and then it got worse. And now I'm just all over the place and I don't really know what to do, but I do know that I need to address it and I have feelings about it and I need to let those feelings out. And I feel like this is the appropriate way of doing it because you can, there's like a bigger connection here than it would be if I just posted a Twitter thread. And that thread is like no longer relevant because the situation has already escalated to a point where I can no longer be objective, at least not fully. But I had told Isa, who's Ali's friend, who was, you know, talking with me while we were at dinner, and he had said that some people don't deserve, you know, our emotions. And I wildly disagree. I think that everyone deserves a chance in this world. And maybe that's just me being extremely, you know, optimistic about people and the way people are. But as someone who is an educator and someone who, you know, used to believe in something very harsh and very unfeeling and very loveless, I think that everyone deserves a chance. And that is what I had extended to Dawah when I went and spoke to him. You know, I didn't go in with the mindset of destroying him or, you know, beating him down or winning in an argument. That's not why I went. I went to see this man who, you know, gets in all these Twitter feuds with people that I'm acquainted with and I'm friends with, like Ali Rizvi, like Ridvan, like Zara. You know, we had a very small spat back when I released my Why I Left Islam video. But I mean, that was stupid and I'm not even gonna, that's not even worth bringing up at this point. But I wanted to meet this guy who keeps, you know, having fights with all of my friends, and, you know, people that I really care about. And I went and saw him, and it shifted my perspective of him when I went and saw him. You know, I saw a guy who was willing to talk to me at least, willing to talk to me like I'm a human being with feelings and thoughts. I saw a guy who, when we told him Zara and Sammy had been threatened, he went to find the person who had threatened us. You know, I met someone who, you know, spoke to Jimmy, and when Jimmy asked him, do you have any gay friends? Ali replied by saying, no, you're my only one, you know, implying that Jimmy was his friend. You know, I saw a person who was willing to have a normal conversation with us, who was willing to have a human discussion, a conversation, you know, open and honest, despite the fact that we had differing views. And now I'm just really, really disappointed because I know how the internet is, right? The internet is a bunch of people waiting to watch a train wreck. And that's unfortunate, because I would rather we didn't do that. I would rather we had a community that rooted us on. And there is that community. There were those people who were like, oh, thank you for doing this. Thank you for, you know, trying to build a bridge. I know that there's those people there. I know that they exist. But I do also think that there is an audience out there that just waits for these inflammatory things to happen, and that's like really unfortunate. And something that when I brought this to some of my close friends' attention, something that they said was, if you don't pick a side, it's going to look like you're going against your own. And I hate tribalism, you know. I feel like when I was a Muslim, that was something that, you know, we were very biased towards only Muslims. If Muslims were suffering, that was the only thing we fucking cared about. But I hate tribalism and I hate taking sides, you know, and it's very easy for me. It's very easy for me to go against Ali Dawah because first of all, I don't really know him. And second of all, I really don't like his attitude. But I don't want to take a side. I want to stand for who's right? Like, isn't that what's important? I didn't leave an exclusionary society, an exclusionary belief system, an exclusionary, like, group of people so that I could join another one. I want to have an open and honest view about what's happened, but it's so difficult, and it's been made so difficult for me to be objective, because I do feel as though I had something very objective written out in that Twitter thread, and that will no longer be posted. But I can't post that anymore because it's so very one-sided. The argument has devolved from you wronged me and I wronged you to you've wronged me and I wronged you. It's become so unbalanced that it's difficult for me not to just be like, why did you do this to Zara? You know? And, you know, when I watched that video, when I watched your most recent video, Ali, the one you entitled Girl Gets Put in Her Place and some other stuff, it's disgusting. Honestly, it's disgusting. And I'm not even angry. I'm not even angry at it. I'm just so grossed out. I'm so disgusted and I'm so disappointed. And I can't express that enough, like how disappointed I am. Because I feel as though on Sunday, we all, you know, had such a good, you know, fruitful conversation. I really felt like that. And I really, really wish we had now recorded that dinner just so people could see how fruitful that was. You know, from my end of the table where it was me and Isa, and from your guys' end of the table where it was Adnan, Ali Malik, Jimmy, and Armin. I wish I had recorded that now just to show people, because it's almost unbelievable how unrealistic that seems now, given your behavior. Given your behavior. The inflammatory title, like the footage that you posted, that is now the precursor to every other video you're going to post of ex-Muslims at Speaker's Corner. That you've used that video to now set the tone of all the other discussions we had at Speaker's Corner. And what is that video? What is it? It's just a petty catfight. It's just a petty catfight. And I'm not defending Zara in this either. I think you're both, you know, the way that you were arguing in Speaker's Corner, and yes, it is Speaker's Corner. It's a free place to talk. But it was not ideologically rooted. The argument was not ideologically rooted. It was simply just, you did this and I did this and you did this and I did this and you did this and I did this. Like, it was a Twitter war, but in person. And what I saw there was just so petty and childish. And maybe Zara will be upset at me for saying that, but that's how I felt. That's genuinely how I felt. And like, I hate calling out my friends, but I really didn't like the way that argument went, and how Zara tried to also rope Armin into the argument. And then, you know, the very clear aggression on both sides, the very clear, you know, lack of respect for personal space on both sides. And then the content of the argument. Like, at least if there was something to argue, like something ideological that the argument was based in, there would be something to show people. But there wasn't, really. I mean, we had like a tiny little feud. You had like a tiny little feud about, you know, aLLaH being, you know, Zara said something like, aLLaH can go fuck himself, or something like that. And, you know, you took that as, Ali, you took that as a reason to, you know, bash her and put her in her place. But did you forget that we're all apostates and blasphemers? We are all apostates and blasphemers. All of us are. But you singled out Zara as if she was the only one, you know, to say fuck aLLaH. And I don't see what's, like, maybe in your view, like, I can understand your view, because your view is, oh, if someone said that against my parents, da-da-da-da-da. But Armin already explained that to you, that if your parent was a public figure and they were doing a bunch of, you know, crazy shit, burning people in pits for not believing in them, for example, just an example, you would have, I feel like it would be justified for some people to be like, fuck that person, right? It doesn't matter if that's your mom. It's not about offending you. It's about, you know, going against the authority of a tyrant. That's what it's about. And Armin explained that to you previously. But you still decided to use that straw man, because at this point that's what it is. You decided to use that as a reason to attack Zara personally. And I guess it could be argued that Zara is a public figure and, you know, she to some degree deserves ridicule. I guess that could be argued. But also, just in the honor and spirit of having a mature discussion, what was that? You know? Like, I've seen some of your content where you talk about akhlaq and adab and haya and, you know, being good and having good manners and talking to people in a nice way. You know, not backbiting, not slandering people. And that I saw that so clearly when I was talking to you, and I called you out for it when you were calling Ridwan a donkey and a clown. Is that not backbiting? Just because they, you know, first of all, don't believe in Allah and also despise Allah as a, you know, theoretical idea, does that warrant your, you know, ridicule of them? Does that make it okay? Because that's not what I learned when I was a Muslim. Like, I learned, maybe my knowledge of Islam is not as great as yours, maybe. But when I was a Muslim, I learned that we have to have a certain level of aLLaH, you know, good manners, etiquette, in order to talk to people, no matter what they believe. That's what I learned. And I, you know, still carry that with me to a certain degree. Because I think that that's, you know, we're not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I still think that that's a good way to deal with people. And I find it so disappointing that you, as a Muslim, cannot carry that, you know, with people that you have ideological differences with. You can't carry that. And, I mean, you can take this however you want. You can take this as, oh, she's coming for me, oh, she's a hater, or you can take this as nasiha, you know? I mean, I'm not a Muslim, and maybe I have no place to give you nasiha, but it's genuinely what I think. And it's just really upsetting and disappointing. And I'm like, I feel like we built bridges and then you tried so hard to tear them down. Because I wanted to go to Speaker's Corner more. Like, if we had a deal or an agreement that if we could speak, you could speak kind of thing, we would go to Speaker's Corner more. The reason we don't typically is because we're afraid of what might happen to us. You know, Zara got threatened and there were 7 of us there. Zara and Sammy got threatened and there were 7 of us there. You know, there was a big group, fairly big group of ex-Muslims there, and something still happened. And if we went frequently and, you know, that kind of air is still there, that kind of environment where people just want to attack us is there, you I don't know. Like, I would prefer to be angry at you. I'm not. Everyone was waiting for this to happen and now it's happened. That's what I feel like. We expected you to disappoint us and you've disappointed us. And I would like to reiterate a couple of things. That yes, it's very, very difficult for me to be objective here because Zara is one of my best friends. She has helped me in times of great need, and she never asks for that help back. She's one of my closest friends, and it hurts to see her harassed and spammed in this way, and it hurts to even criticize her in this way. So it's very, very difficult for me to be objective, but I'm trying to be. And I could be more objective if you had just, you know, held back that child in you, that need for you to just be aggressive and, you know, like, you just acted like, it's not even aggressive, you just acted like a fucking child. Like, if you had held that back, maybe I could have given a more diplomatic, more objective review of what happened. But you didn't do that. You took it, like, several steps too far. And everyone was telling me, everyone, except for a minority of people, that this is gonna bite you back. And I really feel like it has. I wanted there to be that bridge of communication, if not understanding, communication between our two, you know, camps. But You've tried so hard to destroy that. You've tried so hard to destroy that. And if that's not what you were intending, that's what it looks like. And it's so difficult for me to be objective about that. You've made it so difficult for me to be objective about that. And yes, this is purely my opinion. Feel free to disagree. Feel free to, come for me. This is just how I feel. And I don't know how to express it any better than this. I feel disgusted. I feel just grossed out. And I feel disappointed. And I would like to reiterate that kindness is something that I will continue to use as I go forward and talk to more people. I will give everyone a chance. Most of the time I give people 3 chances to fuck up. And then after that, I learn my lesson and I leave. But I will give everyone a chance, and I think that that is the right way to do it. And something that Armin and I were talking about is that ignorant people should be treated with sympathy. And I agree, When you see someone who is deficient in some way, whether it's that they're blind, or they can't hear, or they don't have legs, you don't ridicule that person, you feel sympathy for them. And ignorance, especially if someone is just purely ignorant and they're not pretending as though they know everything. When someone is ignorant, that is someone who deserves and warrants our sympathy, and we should treat them first with sympathy. And, we should try to bring them into understanding and knowing. And I think that that's a very important value for enlightenment. And I think that kindness really does go a long way, because not too long ago I was the same as aLLaH. I hold the same views, I held the same positions, I probably, behaved in the same way as a young person. And kindness was the thing that brought me out. It wasn't ridicule. It was not, Twitter wars. It was kindness and understanding, and people taking the time to nurture and explain things to me. But I also think that I had a willingness to understand and learn. And I see that so deeply lacking in both of our communities. For one side to understand the other, whichever way you look at it. And I really want that, even if that's a really unpopular opinion. I really, really want that. Because I don't see how, my choices to be a non-Muslim, to leave Islam, I don't see how my choice will ever be normalized unless Muslims themselves understand our position. Those are my 2 cents on this stupid ass drama. And it is stupid. It's incredibly stupid. And I just feel very slighted, I think. Just feel very bad about it. And I'm hoping that after this, I can just put this to bed and never talk about it again. Because how could you, man? We had food together. That immediately makes us homies. What the fuck? We had food together and you bought us tea. Come on. Come on. Grow the fuck up. I'll see you in the next video. I'm just checking the time. I'm gonna go to Marwa and Vidu's or Waleed's event later today, and I will be meeting a lot of you because I'm gonna be on the door. Not gonna be dressed like this. I'll probably put on something a bit more formal, but yeah, I'll be seeing a lot of you, and hopefully that will perk up the rest of my week. I love you. I respect you, I care about you, and if you have any criticism for me, please do leave it below. I would love to read that and, you know, see if I'm wrong, because this is the only way that I can like see it, and I would like to know if, you know, you think I'm wrong or why I'm wrong. But please keep the patronizing tone down. I'm kind of tired of hearing it. But yeah, I will be vlogging a little bit at Marwa and Vidu's event, and hopefully that will be posted on Sunday. But until then, goodbye.